Hi, I'm Catherine Fritz-Kalish. I'm one of the directors on the board of ICDP, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be able to interview Dr. Ian Watt so that all of you as participants of the Ideas Exchange will have a better idea of who's working behind the scenes to make sure that ICDP runs smoothly and delivers to all of you. So just a short introduction to Dr. Watt. Dr. Watt has had a distinguished career in Australian government, including being Secretary of the Department of Communications, IT and Arts, Secretary of the Department of Finance, Secretary of the Department of Defence, and Secretary of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. And in fact, Dr. Watt is the most senior public servant ever in the Australian public service. So it is our absolute privilege to be able to speak with you today. Dr. Watt currently sits on a number of boards, including being chair of the board of ICDP. So, Dr. Watt, can you please tell us about your involvement in Pacific Connect and how your experience through your life and your work is relevant to the work that you do with the Pacific Connect community?
Thanks, Catherine, and thanks for a chance to speak to you all through Catherine. As an Australian, Catherine, I've always thought that Australia needed to do more in the Pacific, more in a region that we are part of. As an individual, I believe that. As a public servant, and particularly in the last 13 or so years of my career, when I was Secretary of Finance, then Defence, and then Prime Minister and Cabinet, I was able to encourage the government to do more. I was able to encourage my department to do more. When I left the public service 5 years ago, I still had the view that I wanted to be involved personally more in the Pacific. When Peter Fritz asked me would I be interested in the ICDP concept, and it was only a vague concept in those days, I was delighted to say yes, and I've been delighted to participate in ICDP ever since. It's that which has kept me interested in ICDP. It's that which stimulates me in ICDP, bringing Australians and Pacific Islanders together around ideas, around IT, around business ventures, seeing that working relationship. That's the future for Australia and the Pacific, that better working relationship. And the thing I like about it is I'm now no longer just encouraging the government to do more, but I'm also able to encourage the whole of Australia to do more as well, be it individuals, be it businesses, or be it governments.
Thank you. And what have you learned through the development of ICDP and the growth of Pacific Connect? How has being part of this community and this initiative changed or influenced you?
It's taught me a lot more about the Pacific Islands, which I didn't know. I don't pretend to have a great knowledge of the Pacific, but I thought I knew something. I know now. I now realise how little I know. It taught me the importance of personal contacts in the Pacific and in Australia, how much the world gets by on the basis of those personal contacts. It taught me the importance of time. You've got to work at it. You can't just create it overnight. You've got to work at it. You've got to build relationships, build connections, build networks, build business partnerships, build ideas. And it taught me that even a small organisation like ICDP, and we're a small organisation of people who give generously of their time. We're a small organisation, but we can make a difference. And that's a great thing. And when I see things like the Ideas Exchange we had last year, admittedly, a one where we were present rather than virtual, when I remember the buzz in the room, the excitement of people working with people, the power of ideas, and the ability to create ventures and thoughts out of a few words, I think that's what Pacific Connect has taught me.
Yeah, thank you. And when you think about the future of ICDP and Pacific Connect, what's your vision or what's your aspiration for this initiative?
The most important thing is that we keep ICDP and Pacific Connect going. That's the first most important thing. We've been at it for now 3 years. We believe we're really starting to make a difference in the Pacific. Small, but a difference. And we believe that we're also unusual. Most entities, government-funded entities, don't focus where we focus. We're filling in a gap. We're filling in a gap with business. We're filling in a gap with IT. We're filling in a gap with women, most importantly women in the Pacific and in Australia. But most importantly, we keep going, but much more than that. We will grow over the next 2 or 3 years, particularly as we get more private sector interest, which we're now working on through the foundation. And that will spread us into funding some projects. It will spread us into doing new and different things. I don't quite know where we'll finish up, but I do know that the next 3 years, 4 years are about more, are about better, are about new ideas and doing new things. So I would hope to look back on ICDP in 3 or 4 years' time and say, boy, we've grown from something small to something a good deal less small, but we're still doing the same thing, bringing Australians and Pacific Islanders together around ideas, around IT, around business, and around personal connections that will last a lifetime.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your thoughts. And I do love working with you on the board. It's a real privilege.
Thank you, Catherine. And I hope everyone has a great virtual Pacific Australian Ideas Exchange.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Catherine.